Hey guys, today I'm here to talk about Bethesda's recent stance on game reviews and overall just the shift in power that we're seeing regarding advanced copies of games and how early reviews are going to be available before the actual day of sale. So this whole video was inspired today by an article that Bethesda released on their official website. It's titled Bethesda and Game Reviews. I'm going to read it for you guys. At Bethesda, we value media reviews. We read them, we watch them, we try to learn from them when they offer critique, and we understand their value to our players. Earlier this year, we released Doom, which is the footage you're seeing now. We sent review copies to arrive the day before launch, which led to speculation about the quality of the game. Can you blame them? Since then, Doom has emerged as a critical and commercial hit and is now one of the highest rated shooters of the past few years. And that's true. But Doom is a masterpiece and the game to beat for me as far as this year is concerned. With the upcoming launches of Skyrim Special Edition and Dishonored 2, we will continue our policy of sending media review copies one day before release. While we will continue to work with media streamers and YouTubers to support their coverage both before and after release, we want everyone, including those in the media, to experience our games at the same time. We also understand that some of you want to read reviews before you make your decision, and that's the case. If that's the case, we encourage you to wait for your favorite reviewers to share their thoughts. And it goes on to say, Skyrim's coming out on Thursday night, and Dishonored 2 is going to be November 11th. Two games I will definitely be getting, and we'll have videos on at a later date. Alright, so first of all, I'm very disappointed in Bethesda. In fact, I'm very disappointed in this new trend that we're seeing in general, but I guess I have to apply a face to it right now. So I'm gonna choose Bethesda because Bethesda is the more unexpected of the companies to do this. Because it wouldn't surprise me if EA or Ubisoft or even Activision were to come out and say this exact thing that Bethesda is saying, that we're going to withhold advanced review copies until the day of release, thereby making reviews unavailable until days or maybe even weeks after launch. And that depends on how committed the reviewer is to providing a complete, cohesive evaluation of the game and its objective and subjective quality. And it's strange that Bethesda's the one to do this, because Bethesda are, for me at least, there have been a few exceptions, like Evil Within, which was terrible, and Elder Scrolls Online, which initially wasn't particularly good. They have been one of the more consistently good publishers out there. Like, they have been making games that support not only niche audiences but blockbusters as well, like general crowd pleasers, big successes. Doom, of course, being the most recent example, because Doom is fantastic. And that line about bringing Doom into this is why they are going to start doing this from now on, as like justification, is something that I have a very personal problem with, because I think I was promoting this game more than Bethesda. I think I had more confidence in Doom than Bethesda did, and because I got into the alpha for this back in October of 2015. And I loved it. In fact, I guess I was under embargo not to specifically talk about it. That was the agreement, I guess, in the alpha for everybody that got to participate. But I loved it, and that was the multiplayer mode that everybody thought was mediocre and hated, and I thought it was wonderful. I loved it. So I had been praising Doom since October, and even well into December when the second round of the closed alpha started. I still loved it. And even in the face of people hating the beta, I still stood by Doom and was like, hey, this is great. I don't understand where all the hate is coming from, and I'm really excited for this game. Which sadly led me to some concern when Bethesda decided to withhold review copies. And I hate how in this article they're saying it like, oh, silly consumer, by thinking that we withheld review copies because of quality issues. I find that just kind of a tad insulting, because, you know, what the hell were we supposed to think? Usually we're so like trained by now to be skeptical of games that don't have review copies. I like look at Assassin's Creed Unity. The embargo for that wasn't lifted until 12 hours after the game came out. 12 hours. And by then that would have been ample time to see how much of a mess that game was from a graphics standpoint, from a frame rate standpoint, performance standpoint. It was a weaponized review embargo designed to trick people into buying their shitty broken game, and made it so you couldn't be warned about it. So the fact that they're talking about like Doom is the reason they're going to start doing this, or part of the reason, is something that I'm just so turned off by. I really find that distasteful. And what makes me sad is that I always consider Bethesda, you know, one of the better ones out there. Bethesda to me is like one of the better publishers. Like, I would definitely rank them higher than the likes of EA and Ubisoft and Activision and Konami and Warner Brothers and all these other fucktards. But I don't know, it just gives me, this is just another name to cross off the list. It's getting shorter and shorter every year. So and I also find it a little hypocritical that they're talking about how, and this is something they don't mention in the article. They talk about how, you know, we love media reviewers, we love to get critiques from them and all that. So why do you withhold information from them? You know, the people that could reasonably provide, like, and I'm not just talking about the likes of IGN and GameSpot and Polygon and all these other websites. I'm talking about, you know, like YouTubers like Jim Sterling, Angry Joe, all these other guys that, in my opinion, are a lot more reliable and a lot more honest than the likes of IGN and GameSpot, who have been caught in the past being under the influence of publishers to provide better coverage for their games, to give better scores to the games. So I don't trust a lot of websites. Like, I'd say 99% of game websites out there, I'm very skeptical when it comes to written reviews or video reviews. Now, guys like Jim Sterling and Angry Joe, yeah, I trust them. I don't always agree with them, of course, but I do trust their opinion, that they are coming from an earnest place. So to see them now being like, hey, we love critics, but we're not going to give access to critics anymore. We're going to withhold them until a day before launch. Even the likes of IGN won't get stuff like this, or maybe people that they deem worthy, like IGN, like Game Informer, like all these other guys. Because, I mean, if you look at it's ironic, if you look at the Steam page for Dishonored 2, they'll have quotes from all these like big websites, and yet they're talking about now how, oh, well, we're not going to support these guys. I mean, they're giving us good press, but nah, not anymore. No review copies for you. So that's a shame. Another thing that's not mentioned in the article is that Skyrim Special Edition has already been out in the hands of YouTubers for like the past like few days now. But it's not every YouTuber. It's only ones that they deem, quote, influencers. Like, say, PewDiePie, Markiplier, T. Martin, unfortunately. And all these guys that have like a bunch of million subscribers that will most likely influence a large group of people to buy the game. So I'm seeing, you know, like YouTubers I've never even heard of, but that have like 2 million, 3 million, 5 million subscribers. Not even in the millions, like the 100,000s. But these are guys that, for me at least, in my opinion, create hype channels. And there are a few decent hype channels out there. I think PlayStation Access is one of the few hype channels I can actually tolerate, where they don't really think critically. It's just all about making the game look good and getting out features about the upcoming PlayStation games and stuff. But they do it with a sense of personality, where they genuinely feel like they love the things that they do. So I appreciate that from PlayStation Access, that earnest honesty to enjoying the games that they coverage. But others like I'd say Markiplier, who I don't particularly like, but it's kind of sad that they have to resort to this whole like influencers thing, rather than, you know, like educated critics with maybe much more unique views on games than, you know, your average influencer. I'll just throw out Jim Sterling for an example, who I think is probably my favorite games critic of all time, who I don't always agree with. I'll be the first to admit that. And yet, I think his views on games has changed the way I think about games for the better. I'm much more... a lot of my critical standpoints come from him, and I'm personally thankful to him about that. But I find it sad that publishers, and he wrote a recent article about how EA and Square Enix Japan considered him too much of a wild card to provide game reviews to, advanced game reviews to, which isn't a problem for him because he's funded on Patreon and he can get all the money anyway, which is cool. But it's sad that companies have such a complete lack of this is the big killer for me. It's one thing to say, like, you know, oh, we're really nervous about sending out review copies to critics that might not like our games, that might criticize it, that have criticized us in the past. I understand that hesitation, because you don't, from a sheer human standpoint, no one likes to send out their products with the knowledge that it could be torn apart. I understand you worked hard on something, you don't want to see your baby get thrashed. But coming out like this, with this disingenuous article, and I'm going back to Bethesda, saying, you know, we love game critics, we love our partners, and yet we're going to limit access, and by that definition, limit access to consumers. So we want your money, but we don't want you finding out about potential problems with the games, even if there aren't any problems whatsoever. Like if Doom the reviews for that were to come out like a week before the game's launch, I think that would have given them a boost in PR. That would have shown, hey, they have confidence in this thing. It's a fantastic game. And even games that people were like meh about, like the recent, I haven't really heard that many like amazing things about the new Gears of War, but you know what? A week in advance, at least like 4 to 5 days in advance, review God damn it, I hate the audio recording feature on this thing. Sorry, cut out. But yeah, like any company I see, even if the game overall isn't received well, it shows confidence in their product. It shows confidence that, hey, this is a game that we want to get in the hands of people that might be influential to others that think critically. And we want their opinion. We genuinely want to make our games better, and we want to hear what people have to say. They might not always take that advice, but there are better avenues to get it than, hey, let's restrict advanced copies to critics. And one of the things that I've heard pop up as like a defense of this, which really, if you're defending this, I mean, really? It's like, you know, reviewers aren't entitled to this sort of thing. Reviewers aren't entitled to advanced copies. And no, you're right. They're not. But it is a benefit to the consumer. And that's what all this is for, right? This is why we have harsh game critics. This is why we have so much skepticism in the game industry right now, because of consumer issues. I mean, look at what happened with No Man's Sky. Look at that. No advanced copies before the game came out. Everyone had to play it like the day of to find out what was going on with it, like all the missing features. And then I just feel like it's so tone deaf from Bethesda, particularly in light of like the No Man's Skies and the Assassin's Creed Unities of the business. It's so tone deaf, so disingenuous, and just very, very hypocritical that they're resorting to this. And it's like, I don't see the need with Bethesda. I'm not saying Bethesda can do no wrong, because they clearly, I've shown on my channel that they can, in my opinion, do wrong. But it's like, why Bethesda? They made Doom. They released Doom, which is amazing. They're releasing Dishonored 2, which is probably going to be awesome. They're releasing Skyrim Special Edition, a game that is 5 years old. That probably is going to be amazing. Might not be the best remaster I've ever seen, but it's a fucking amazing game nonetheless. It's one of my very favorite games. Why is that being held for review copies? Why? It's like, it's a remaster. Who fucking cares? Unless there's something to hide. That could be the other reason. Look at what happened with Mafia 3. That had review copies come out a day before the game's launch. I don't think any of them were for PC, though. And look what happened with that. PC people got fucked over by that game. No 30 frames per second. I mean, no 60 frames per second option. Game ran kind of poorly. Advanced settings weren't much to speak of. Even performance issues on the PS4 I've heard about. And overall, it just wasn't a very good game from what I've heard. And I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet. And I don't think I ever will, because I've lost so much interest in playing Mafia 3, which is very disheartening. And yeah, no review copies for that. Look at the problems with that. And now they want to do that. Like it's not just Bethesda. EA's mentioned that they want to start doing this. 2K has mentioned they want to start doing this. And I'm pretty sure Ubisoft's going to jump on the bandwagon pretty soon, knowing them. So all that we've got left that do these like really big advanced copies are the likes of Nintendo, which Nintendo are great at doing that. I've criticized Nintendo in the past, but rightfully so. But hey, one thing they're really, really good at is review copies. They've released review copies for games weeks in advance. Weeks. Xbox is really good with that as well. Reviews for Recore came out a few days before the game came out. Yeah, it wasn't a particularly good game. People didn't really care for it. Didn't sell very well. But you know what? That's good. That's good that the review copies came out before the actual game. I'm talking about days. Gears of War, same thing. Forza Horizon 3, same thing. Look at Sony. Uncharted 4, days in advance. Fantastic game. Probably didn't have much to worry about, but again, shows confidence in their product. So I just don't think this is necessary from Bethesda. I don't think it's necessary in general. I don't think it's right even. I'm of the opinion that I think this is a very anti-consumer practice, but unfortunately, this is going to be the future. And I can already see it, where information is going to become more and more controlled. We're going to have the likes of Bethesda doing less, providing less to critically thinking reviewers and more to fuckers like Rooster Teeth, who are shills for Bethesda. I've said this in the past, but god damn do I hate Rooster Teeth. I think they're fucking sellouts. I mean, like they're an example. They were making fun of Giant Bomb, one of the Giant Bomb guys, for criticizing Fallout 4, and yet this was in a roundtable discussion sponsored by Bethesda, where they were all wearing Pip-Boys on their arms. How fucking corporate do you have to be? Like, do you not see the irony in that? Do you not see the hypocrisy, the disingenuous bullshit going on with that? I guess not, because Rooster Teeth is still extremely popular. But I mean, also look at they had that Day of Doom thing with Rooster Teeth. That was really the only big marketing that this game had outside of doctored trailers, and even then, that could have been a controlled session from Bethesda. That was held at Bethesda's quarters. That was provided by Bethesda. Hawked by Rooster Teeth. So we're not getting genuine, it's sponsored stuff. That's going to be the big future, and this is just a big stepping stone towards that future where information, like good information, is going to be readily available less and less, and more controlled sponsored shit is going to be available more and more. And that's why I like doing this channel, because let's face it, I am like a drop of piss in this large, expansive ocean that is YouTube. I am nothing. I am really nothing in the long run. Really, I'm not. I'm nothing in the short term either. But you know what? I really like, I feel, I like providing honest opinions for you guys. Because I feel like as consumers, you guys deserve it. You guys deserve to be informed of whenever something shitty happens in this industry. Whenever I see something in a game that deserves to be shown, like put a spotlight on it. And I could not be, if I have influenced your decision in any way to avoid a crappy running game or a game with terrible business practices, then I've been doing my work. I've been doing what I set out to do with this YouTube channel, for the most part. Most of it's to have fun, and to entertain myself almost. But if I have influenced your decision in any way over something that is legitimately terrible, then cool, awesome. So anyway, that's my opinion on this whole Bethesda thing. This is like a combination of another video where I initially, like a while ago, recorded a rant about the whole Mafia 3 thing, but I never published it just because of all the new information that came out for it, and I would have had to go back and redo it. So here you go. This is like a 2-for-1 video. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you like what you see, subscribe. Let me know what you think about this whole Bethesda thing, about this whole info controlling thing that they're going to start doing now, that a lot of people are going to start doing now. So just goes to show, don't pre-order unless it's extremely limited quantity. or some kind of collector's item, like a physical collector's item, don't pre-order. Be more cautious. Be more skeptical. Be wary of the companies that you think are trustworthy. And now I wait for CD Projekt Red, who is the last beacon of hope, to finally succumb to this diseased industry. Now we wait. Alrighty, thank you guys for watching. Have a good one, guys. Take care.